It was a few years ago, back when I was living in a small, old apartment building. You know, the kind that has a history, a vibe you can't quite put your finger on. I had always heard whispers about weird things happening in the building, but I brushed them off as superstitions. That was until one night when I experienced something that defied all explanation. I had just come back from work, tired and ready to crash. As I approached my apartment, I noticed something strange. My front door was slightly ajar. Now, I was sure I had locked it when I left that morning. I stepped inside cautiously, and the atmosphere felt different. The air was heavy, suffocating, like the room was holding its breath. That's when I heard it. A faint, almost imperceptible sound, like soft whispers floating through the air. I searched every corner, every nook and cranny, convinced that someone had broken in. But there was no one there, and those whispers, they seemed to grow louder, more insistent, as if they were coming from within the walls themselves. I brushed it off as my imagination, chalking it up to exhaustion. But as the days went by, things got weirder. Objects would disappear and reappear in different places. The temperature in the apartment would fluctuate dramatically, even though the thermostat was unchanged. I started feeling like I was being watched. Those eyes you can't see, but you can definitely feel. And then the nightmares started. Vivid dreams of shadowy figures lurking just beyond my line of sight, whispering unintelligible words that left me drenched in cold sweat. I tried to tell myself it was all in my head, that I was just stressed. But then came the night I'll never forget. I woke up to the sensation of someone breathing on the back of my neck. Icy tendrils grazing my skin. I turned around, heart pounding, and saw nothing. Just an empty room. That was the breaking point for me. I packed my bags that very night and moved out of that apartment. And you know what? The whispers, the shadows, the chilling presence, they stayed behind. But my life slowly returned to normal, as if that apartment had been a twisted portal to something beyond our understanding. It's a memory that still keeps me up at night, reminding me that there are things in this world we can't explain, things that defy reason and logic. To fully understand this story, picture yourself in a cozy cabin nestled deep within a dense forest, far from civilization. The nearest town was hours away, and the only connection to the outside world was a single dirt road that seemed to disappear into the trees. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of deep purple and black, I found myself alone in that cabin. A storm was brewing, the wind howling through the trees, and the rain pelting the windows in a relentless rhythm. The only source of light was a flickering lantern that cast eerie shadows on the wooden walls. I had retreated to the cabin for some solitude, seeking solace in the remote wilderness. But as darkness settled in, an unsettling feeling crept over me. It was as if the very air was charged with a malevolent energy, and the woods themselves seemed to hold their breath. I tried to dismiss my unease as mere paranoia, attributing the sense of dread to the storm outside. But then the lantern's flame sputtered and dimmed, casting the room into a deeper gloom. I cursed under my breath as I fumbled for a match to relight it, my fingers trembling. As the match flared to life, its feeble glow illuminated a figure outside the window, a silhouette shrouded in rain-soaked darkness. My heart leapt into my throat as I staggered back, dropping the match in my shock. The figure was gone when I mustered the courage to peer out, vanishing into the tempest. I nervously laughed off my fear, blaming it on my overactive imagination. But then came the knocking, soft at first, like the whisper of a branch against the window pane. I froze, my breath catching in my chest. The knocking grew more louder, a rhythmic tapping that seemed to match the beat of my racing heart. I cautiously approached the window, my fingers trembling as I pulled back the curtain. There, standing on the soaked ground, was a figure, drenched, with long hair plastered to their face. Their clothes clung to their body, and their fingers reached out, tapping against the glass in a maddening rhythm. Fear and curiosity warred within me. I wanted to retreat, to hide from whatever entity stood before me. But a strange compulsion took hold, urging me to open the window, to confront whatever malevolent force lurked outside. With trembling hands, I unlatched the window and pushed it open just a crack. The wind howled in, carrying with it a damp chill that seemed to seep into my bones. The figure's eyes met mine, and for a moment time seemed to stand still. Their gaze bore into me, a mixture of sorrow and desperation that chilled me to my core. And then, with a sudden gust of wind, the figure was gone, vanished into the storm as if they were never there. I slammed the window shut, my heart racing, my mind reeling. The cabin felt suffocating, the walls closing in around me. As I sat in the darkness, the storm outside began to subside, the rain tapering off and the wind dying down. Exhausted and bewildered, I finally drifted into a restless sleep. When I awoke the next morning, the sun was shining and the forest looked like a different world. Serene and untouched, I couldn't shake the feeling that what I had experienced was more than a mere nightmare. The cabin, once a sanctuary, now felt tainted by something otherworldly. I packed my belongings hastily, eager to leave that place behind. As I walked down the dirt road, the woods seemed to whisper secrets, and the memory of the figure at the window haunted my thoughts. To this day, I can't explain what I encountered that night. A ghostly apparition, a trick of the mind, or something more sinister, but one thing is certain. The wilderness holds mysteries beyond our comprehension, and the darkness can reveal things that should remain hidden. For more content like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.